anything positive, he can do it.
1987, Farmer Ifman, two-wheel drive, world champion in the United States, Joel Johnson. What car were you using to win the final years ago?
The Kyosho Ultimate.
Our world champion.
World Championships. Matt Francis. Greg Hodaf in the middle.
We have Ryan Dunbar.
What is up, everybody? How you doing tonight? Do a little adjustment here. All right. Just starting to get the room set back up and everything going. So, yeah, cool stuff. Hope everybody is doing good. All righty. So we got Mike Kirby in the house. So tonight, sorry, I should have had these kits in hand. So tonight, we had the opportunity to win a Kyosho Scorpion, right? Or Kyosho Tomahawk. This is from our friends at Kyosho America. I'd like to thank Mr. Futoshi and Akira for their support for the J Concepts Vintage Clash of Champions and Old School RC Reunion. What's up, Michael? What's up, Benny? What's up, Brock? So tonight's a kind of a special night. We're going to do a couple things. We're going to do this waffle and pick a winner. And then here in about 20 minutes, I'm going to be joined by Team Losi driver and legend Jose Zayas. So Jose has been tearing up the scene here lately in vintage racing. And I want to talk to him about vintage racing, about his new company that he started, 3ZD. And we're going to talk more about the Vintage Clash. Also want to talk a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes with the Vegas race that's going on by Team Associated. So talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the background there. And yeah, I haven't looked at signups today to see where we're at. But last time I looked, we were sitting right around 220 entries. So I strongly urge everybody to, get signed up. We're wanting this to be the most epic vintage event in history. And, the legends keep coming in, man. I'm excited. We added 2 more over this past week. With Mark Pavitas and also with Travis. I can't ever say his name right. Somebody will have to help me with that one. But, he's both these guys have box artwork done after them. So it's pretty excited to have them coming in. And, we got to thank people like Mike Kirby. He's been instrumental, not only providing all this great artwork that we're using, but also providing cars for legends. Our platinum sponsors, Team Associated, MIP, Cal RC, support my boys at Cal RC tonight. Heath Mescal has been tremendous to me, and he has provided some fantastic trophies. Let me see if I can find one of them real quick. So these are the B main trophies that Cal RC has provided for each class. This is a third place. As you go up, the mats get bigger. So awesome. You know, if you guys can see in my background, you can see my Cal RC stuff. So that's the third place. You go on up. Second place. Got the little retro scheme going on up in there. Let me see if I pull this big boy out of here. Whew. It's a big mat, man. This, you got to hold it way back. This is what your first place in the B main looks like. So great trophies right there from my buddy Heath and Cal RC. You know, we're lucky to have him aboard. What's going on, Lance? How you guys doing? You know, I want to have more nights like tonight, you know, where we have time to answer questions and stuff as well. But, you know, I really wanted to have Jose on, talk about some of the things he's doing, and then, you know, just talk about the vintage racing scene in general. And, you know, Jose was a big supporter of what we did at Mimi's. That race we pulled together pretty quickly. And then, you know, he's just tearing it up, man. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this waffle started. This will be last out wins. Yeah, Lance, it's okay, buddy. Not everybody can be in all of them. I'm excited. You know, Kyosho has stepped up big time, you know, and being a gold level sponsor for this event. And we're excited to have them on board. And they're actually sponsoring the heritage class for the race. So they have the sponsor title for that one. So excited, you know, got to race the Kyosho JJ car for the first time here a couple weeks ago and was sitting, I think, 6th or 7th in the A with that car. And unfortunately didn't get to race it with my finger incident. But Jose had helped me do a couple little changes, and I was excited to go out and try them because the changes he helped me with in the truck allowed me to easily take the bump from the B to the A. And, yeah, shame I didn't get to race those races. But, hey, is what it is. The finger is healing. It's just going to take a while. I can't do any – I got all my stuff unpacked today. I don't know if y'all saw the funny picture, but you guys are a trip. Somebody wrote on my positive terminal for my wire. I had a big one that I put on there that somebody gave me, and somebody put on there HIV positive. So it's kind of funny. But needless to say, I don't think there's probably anything funny about HIV or the people that have it. But it was, you know, it's just goes to show you sometimes the humor that this group has and a sense of tragedy. You know, I went back and I watched the video for the first time when I hurt my finger because it was all on live RC. And man, everybody acted so quickly. It was just amazing how the group came around and supported me and got everything, you know, got me back to good, you know, really quickly. So, all right, here we go. Last out is going to win this. I'm going to go ahead and get started because Jose's going to be joining me in about 15 minutes. Good luck, everybody. I'm not going to say a whole lot during this. I'll catch up with you guys after. Hey, Robert, thank you, dude, for your help with all these vintages as well, these legends. I did have a nice talk with Jay Halsey today, and he's working on his schedule, and we should know a definite on when he will be there. He is planning on being there, just as in when, unless something, you know, a new job or something comes in and gets in the way. But had a nice talk with him. A lot of work going on in the background, but we'll talk about that a little more when we get Jose on. So let's go ahead and do this waffle. Good luck, everybody. Like I said, last out is going to win this. Let me move this over. Richard, Mike, if you guys are watching, I am going to spend some time after this tonight and go through everything. I'm going to be honest. I spent most of the day in bed yesterday. I was exhausted and sick. And yeah, I might have been out of bed maybe 3 hours yesterday. So here I am. I'm up. I'm feeling better. And we're going to see who wins this Kyosho. Good luck, y'all. Like I said, winner has choice of the Tomahawk or the Kyosho Scorpion, both NIB kits from the Legendary series. So speaking of Legendary, here we go. Good luck, y'all. Tom. Thank you. I want to. There we go. That makes it a little better. Here we go. Good luck. Michael, thanks for playing, buddy. Carrie, thanks for playing. Carrie, I'm so excited to see y'all. I can't wait to the race to see you. Here we go. Oh, Tom again. Sorry, buddy. Tom has really stepped up and helped with a lot of these, man. I really hoping to have him see a win soon. So already 2 out this soon. I hate it. Will, thank you, buddy. My new buddy, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Robert Stevens. One of these days, Robert, you'll get one. Thank you, brother. I was glad to buy you a spot for all that you've been doing to get these cars ready. Hope you had a good visit seeing Kirby yesterday. It's always fun going to that big place. I haven't even been to his new place yet. I'll get up there, Kirby. My buddy, Andy Hayes. Andy, I sure hope to see you at the race, my man. I was just talking to Will, and I'd love to get the old Extreme crew together and race and vintage together again. Mike Kirby. Thank you, Mike. Oh, the double dip, Mike. Sorry about that, buddy. It's Tom again. Oh, boy. Boy Mitchell. Thanks, Mitchell. Love to see it another race, man. I know it's hard. It's where you live now. It's hard to get anywhere. Mr. Cruz. Thank you, sir. Thanks for all your support. All right. There's my spot. The Kyosho will not be staying here. Larry Nelson. Larry, I did send you a PM, buddy. Check your PM. Thank you for participating. Mitchell, another one there. Thanks again. Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. Brandon, I hope you're planning on coming, buddy. Mr. Wes. Thank you, Wes. Mr. Josh. Thank you, Josh. Kevin Keys. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin steps up almost every time as well. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, Robert, Mark Kirby is a great dude. He really is. We're lucky to have him in the community for sure. He's become a very, very close friend over the past 10 or 11 years. A friendship that just keeps growing too. So excited to be partnering in this race with him, Drew and Eddie and Jason. So very excited. All right, guys, we're down to, I'll call it off when we get to 4, but good luck. My boy Greg Croft. Speaking of somebody that has done a lot for the race, if you saw the intro video and the exit video, he has put those together for us and did a hell of a job. So thank you, Greg, for all you're doing, buddy. Really appreciate you. Not today, Tom. I'm sorry, buddy. All right, we are down to 4. We have Larry, Will, Kevin, Josh, Eric. Good luck. Eric, almost, buddy. Thank you. Will, very close. Thank you, sir. All right, we're down to 3. Josh, Larry, Kevin. Good luck. Ooh, boy, right on the line. Larry, thank you for playing. We're down to Kevin and Josh. Good luck, y'all. Last out will win this one. Here we go. Here we go. And it's going to be Josh. Congratulations, Josh. Thank you for playing, Kevin. I appreciate you. I'm going to give him a spin to win here. And there's your winner, Josh Martinson. Congratulations, Josh. Hit me up. Let me know which of the 2 cars you would like, the Tomahawk or the Scorpion. So next up on the Waffle World, we got a lot. We got a lot left still to do. I'm going to have to start hitting it hard. Right now, every day is pretty... every day is busy. Work is busy. Getting ready for this race is busy. But it's my passion. I'm going to give you guys all I got. And, I want to see a great event. And these waffles are what's doing it. They're what's helping us raise the money to have a great event and do the right things. And, thank you, Team Kyosho or Kyosho America, for stepping up. There's some exciting stuff with Kyosho going on in the background, and I'm praying that it all comes true, because if it does, it is going to be like totally epic, man. If they send a person, I think they're going to send. It's going to be like a dream come true for me, because I'll be able to have my buddy Joel there with me, and somebody else very special that spent a lot of time with us back in 86 and 87, and still around with Kyosho today. I'm not going to throw out any names until we have it knocked in, and I'm just hoping that it happens, because it will be freaking epic if it does. So yes, it would be tremendous. So I'm going to go ahead and get the screen set up. Next up for the waffles, we're probably going to do a set of bodies. I should have my buddy. Let me do something here real quick. I want to give you guys a little tour. If you did not know, Kyosho America has a really nice site. I'll do a little sharing here. They do a really good job with their site. You can go into products, you can pick RC car, and you can go over here to Legendary Series, and then you have your different cars. Oh, looky here. Out of stock. But if you look at the Kyosho here, you've got the 2-wheel drive 20 anniversary, which I really want one of these in my collection to add to my Mid Optima. But if you look, you can click here on option parts. And it's saying there are none. But A-Main also carries their stuff in the USA as well. Let's go to a different one. There's different ways to look. The site works really well. You know, if you pull up Ultima parts, you can see the different ones. Let me just hit enter and see what happens. So this is the rear tower, right? But there is a way to just search parts for the items. We go back. But there are a lot of different parts available on Kyosho America for this car. You know, you got your shock parts here. You got your damper, internal shock parts. You got your rear bulkhead, your gearbox, sway bar, which, hey, probably need one of those. You got your rear hinge. You got your steering part, which is saying discontinued. I'm not sure on that one. Motor plates. You know, you can find a bunch of cars. There's 12 pages of Ultima parts here listed. Looky there. Ultima SB. Interesting. But you can go through and you can find your parts on here. You got your chassis for your JJ. You got your rear suspension arms. But yeah, there's a lot of parts you can find. Your chassis protector. There's the steering part. But you can go here and you can look. Like I said, a good site to go on and look. You know, I always want to kind of give an overview of the sponsors. And you know what? Kyosho has done a really, really good job consistently releasing parts. You know, Akira is still there. The original, you know, guy kind of behind the Ultima and that car coming out. He's one very involved in creating the JJ Ultima and taking what Joel sent them and making it into a great car. And I'll tell you what, man, the car performed really, really well. The only real changes I made to my car, I got it right here, is I went with the RB5 front steering. It does work if you can find them. I just did a couple shims on the front there to make it work. But the car hooked up. You know, I know there's been some talks about the diff and the different things. Yes, they are a lot louder than like your 6-gear or stealth cars, but the car did perform really well. It handled well. It turned well. There was some debate on skinny tires versus hard. I ended up going with the very hard inserts in the front. In the beginning, I had trouble turning, but as the track came in, the car turned a lot better with the wider tires. But I was very happy, and it was like I was like a kid in a candy store running this car again. You know, it was fantastic. I got it, and then I've got my original replica from '87 sitting right here that my boy Brandon Giles did for me here a while back. So it's kind of cool to see the cars together. There's really not a different in length or width. A little in the front with the RB5 stuff on it. But other than the 2.2 tires, you know, give you a lot more stance and stuff. So, but it's cool to have these two cars. You know, I kind of got them sitting back here together. It's really cool to see them both. But that's your little tour. I should have Jose joining me any second. Hopefully he knows how to get in here. Let's see here. Let me double check. There he is right there. All right. Jose, if you can hear me, I'm gonna clear up the stage and get you set and ready. I'll stop screen. Let me change the setup. I'm hoping we got a 2-person. I don't know that we do. Two-person screen. Come on. Give me 1 second, Jose. What's up, Jose?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How you doing? Good.
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining kind of at the last minute here. Let me
No,
pull
all's
up
good.
your site real quick, and we can kind of bring it up. Anything exciting going on today, Jose?
No, just busy getting ready for the next event. Going back to North Carolina for the Beast Race. The next
Oh
week.
yeah, that's right.
So
The
excited for
Beast,
that. Do a little
in the
modern
East.
racing.
Right?
Yeah.
So what are you racing for that race?
13.5 4-wheel, 17.5 2-wheel, and 8 scale and 40 plus.
A scale. So they run A scale on that track.
Yeah. It's first. I went there last year. It was a great event. They even run nitro inside. It's a little crazy, a little bit different event, but the guys do a great job. So
Okay. All
I'm
right.
glad to be back.
Okay. That's interesting. Good track, good facilities. I had a really good time this past time. Other than the incident in the end, you know what I mean? It was a good fun weekend, and enjoyed spending some time with you.
No, same. I'm just glad you're doing okay. Your incident happened during my 4-wheel drive race. And,
Yes, it did. Yes.
That's the reason I got second, I think. But all outside, I'm just glad you're doing well. It was pretty scary.
Yeah, I think it was actually your wreck that I was turn marshaling when I went back on the chair. So you blame me, I blame you, buddy.
That's right.
Let me share the screen. I have got your site up, and we can talk about it a little bit as well. But I want to start out kind of talking about the history of Jose and what kind of got Jose into racing, and kind of, if you want, you can talk about some of your world's experiences that you've had as well. And I don't think a lot of people know. They just know that Jose has come around and he's been kicking everybody's what's in vintage racing here lately. So
I wouldn't say all that. Dirk, again, thank you for having me. Listen.
Oh yeah, man.
It's been exciting to rejoin this whole vintage racing. For me, it's been a tale of two chapters. I actually started racing, looking through the archives. I sent you that picture that you posted. That was in 1995.
19 what?
95.
Okay.
And I had my RC10 GT, which symbolically, of course, it's coming out back again. But most people, of course, know me as a diehard Losi driver. But I have run Associated. we can talk about that as you want. But yeah, it's been. Listen, I got my first car in '86. It was a Blackfoot, which I think you can see up there. That was a lot of fun and a lot of great memories. Came back to that and had a lot of different cars, grasshoppers. I get to see them all again in the vintage racing. But I started earnestly racing back in around 91 when I had my RC10T, which is also sitting up there. And that's when it really
back here behind you.
Yeah, that's where it really kicked off for me. And it was just kind of just a lot of fun. And I got the bug since. And, little by little, just kept on grinding, driving locally. Back then I was in the West Coast. Most people know me from my heyday in the West Coast. I was in New Mexico and eventually a little bit of California. And so I started racing in the early 90s, took it seriously in the kind of the mid 90s. Was fortunate to pick up a few sponsors along the way to kind of help me with parts. I was a college student, didn't have a lot of money like most folks, and just trying to kind of grind through it, and was fortunate to land with Losi. And I think it was 96, maybe 97. When I got second at the Stock Nats in Ohio, and from there I just been a really staunch Losi supporter, and still to this day. So it's kind of been great. I went to the Worlds in '03 in Florida, which I heard a lot of folks talking about that race. It was a great race. That was the debut of the BK2. Yeah. And then my daughter came in '04, and I just stopped racing. I stopped racing in '04. Had other priorities, other more important matters to take care of. And then my son came in '07. And then we moved out here to the East Coast, where I'm in Virginia right now, and picked it up again in 13 when my son was 5. Okay. And he since has quit, but I kept on racing a little bit. And then, I joined this vintage racing last year, as you mentioned, Mimi's Race. Buddy Rob Estev's a great guy at the track, said, "Hey, you got to come do this race." And I said, "I don't got a car." So we went a little crazy on eBay, and a lot of buddies, people like yourself and others, got me a car, and the race was about 2 weeks away, and put it together, and raced that event. And I got the bug just because it's so many memories. And I just completed, I guess, my 4th event just 2 weeks ago. Down there in North Carolina.
Yeah, I think you've kind of dominated every one so far, haven't you?
I've been fortunate to do well in many of the events. It's been, it's a lot of work. But luckily I had a lot of experience with those cars, and they're good. I mean, you've talked a lot about them in these podcasts, right? They're real. These cars are really, really good. And, it takes a little time to get them into the modern world of thinking, either be tires or surfaces or whatnot. But, it's a great community. People come together, help each other out. And, it's been, I've been able to be, competitive, which is at the end of the day all I shoot to be, and it's been fun.
So Jose took home the first top dog trophy that I've ever done. That we put the first one together for Mimi's, and there's been 2 of these so far done. Mimi's was the first, and then Von Air took home the other one. This one was a little different because this one was a points base. And you tied with somebody, and we had to do the old paper, rock, scissors.
I ran the same car. That's my double X. At that time, I only had one car. Don't tell my wife how many I have now. Right. But so I had decided to at least try for this point system that you've developed to run the back class in the old school class and in the modern class, and was able to. I think I did well in both. I can't recall, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was good to spend some time with you. Your story sounds a lot like mine. I was just becoming up and coming, and had went to my first Worlds, and I ended up getting in some trouble in Florida. My parents moved me to the mountains of Tennessee, and I never looked back for like 26 years. And my wife and I were driving around in a car, and I think my son may have been in the car with us because he was kind of at that age. She's like, "What did you do when you were a kid?" Because we're trying to figure out. My son he had a really bad nose injury in baseball and decided not to play sports anymore. And, we got into RC and I started coming back, and I started looking, and all my buddies were the ones like running the companies, and they were still around through social media. And, that's kind of when the old school RC started. And, here we are almost 12,000 members later. And I think it's going on its 10-year anniversary. But it's been great to, meet people like you and, really try to invest in the community and, try to help people get into vintage racing, right? It's about the childhood memories, right? I know there's a lot of debate right now about the different surfaces and the different things. But one reason I wanted to have you on tonight, and I know we are going to have a great debate here very soon. I'm going to try to maybe get something scheduled for next weekend. But if you want to talk about the little different surfaces and kind of how you feel, because you come up racing, I guess in 2003, there were starting to be some groove tracks, right?
Yeah, listen, and I'm looking forward to the debate, and just to hit on the point that you made. To me, vintage racing it really encapsulates, I think, 3 or maybe even 4 situations that we all now as adults find ourselves in. One of us is, we saw a lot of people running. We didn't have the means to kind of buy a car or whatever it may be, and we always had that curiosity or that jealousy of what that would feel like. And now, we may be in a different situation. Others stopped for some reason and came back, and others are just racers. And for me, I fall in that category where, listen, I get to relive a lot of those experiences with these cars. And truthfully and personally, we'll talk a little bit about a little company I put together. These old cars that people like Junior and Cliff and others built were really, really, really good. And I am just amazed. We were in New Jersey not that long ago. I know you couldn't make that race, but our cars were breaking track records that were there with cars that were modern, right? So,
wow.
They can be competitive for sure. And, the evolution of tracks is real. I think now we're in a really interesting point, and we can talk about that. But the picture that you have of me in 1995, that's actually in Albuquerque, where Albuquerque, New Mexico was known for where the sugar tracks were born. That's where people add sugars to these tracks, all in the need to get higher traction. And we were running outdoors those were the times that we were running. You may remember the taper pins and the square fuzzies and things of that nature. And at that time, you had to run a small pin because you were outdoors and you had that dust layer. But after one race, your tire was gone, and that tire is garbage. That tire is complete garbage. So, you think about just the sheer cost, not only the tire prep and everything else. And as the evolution a lot of things have happened. The materials have gotten better. I mean, you look at companies, Proline, AKA, J Concepts, others. I mean, just the innovation on the chemistry of these rubbers. I mean, these tires are amazing. If you think about what we put them through and what they do. And the fact that we can go out there at the race in North Carolina, I practiced and I raced all my qualifiers and the mains on one set of tires.
Yeah.
We could have
Jose, my truck tires on my XXT, I don't think I've changed since Vonats 2 years ago. Right. And
we could have never done that back then. They dry rot and other things. So I'm looking forward to the debate about sauce and surfaces. Now, the challenge that we're having right now is, as cars have become so tailored, right? We have these very pedigree tracks with incredible bite. And undoubtedly, it has changed the demographics of racing. Back then, you would have tracks like Arcor, Eminent Hobbies, and Corona that you were almost running in slicks, even in the 90s. But then you would go to another track and you're running on a step pin, right? Or in other tracks like the Cactus, you were run on sprint tires, or we were trying to get a hold of the hardest tire possible because there was so much traction out there. So it was a very eclectic mix. We would show up to races literally as drivers, even sponsored or not, with 4 or 5 different tread patterns in 2 or 3 different compounds. Now you can pretty much show up to a track with one tire. I mean, I literally had 2 sets of tires for each one of my cars for this 3-day race that we just had. We never could have done that back then.
And I'm not seeing, the funny thing is I'm not seeing breakage and as much wear on my cars either.
No, and they're cleaner. I mean, But the problem is, the parts availability is really hard, right? So when you do experience that breakage, there's a good chance that the hobby store doesn't have it.
Yep.
Thanks to the ecosystem that you and other have created, there's a network. People can help each other out, which is amazingly impressive, right?
I've never been at a vintage race, Jose, and not had something and not been able to find it from one of my buddies.
Yeah, I mean,
never. I've never had it happen.
Dirk, this guy took it. Patrick, you may know him, of course. Patrick, he took it off his truck. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like,
yeah,
you need to run. I'm like, I mean, just the community, the camaraderie, the philosophy or mindset to the racing thing is fundamentally different. But that's really a great attribute. But I'm looking forward to the debate. I wish there were more characteristic to tracks. I mean, everywhere we go, we're pretty much running a slick like tire. You heard Ryan Mayfield in a few podcasts saying that really there is no outdoor 10 scale racing. That's kind of sad, right?
And I would love to see that back. And I know there's some tracks out there.
There is, but it's those owners struggle, right? Because they may not get the numbers and things of that nature. So we're in this delicate. I do hope. One of my fears is that we just go to everything is carpet, and that would be the demise of dirt, which I hope though it doesn't happen. But listen, I'm so appreciative of the community, and but yeah, I think these cars are good.
Yeah, you're sitting there. I'm sitting here looking like I bought a box of parts recently. Look, this is all hard anodized, associated original bodies.
Let's be honest. Did you buy them?
Yeah, I bought a whole lot of different stuff for, springs are very hard to come by now, right?
Yeah.
Associated. So
absolutely.
I got a bunch of
we can talk about
and,
springs. That's something that.
Damn! Look at this, whites, greens. I haven't even looked in this box yet to see what all's in here, but
little gold right
it's what it's about, right? It's having, and then another thing. And Jason, and I know you're a J Concepts driver as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Representing right here.
Yeah. Jason and I have become close, and it's so funny. We didn't talk about it on the on our live cast the other night, but the first time I met Jason, I was just starting to learn about lipos and different things, and we come back from the night, and they shut all the power down at the track, and when my charger kicked back on, it kicked my charger back into a different mode.
Really?
And when I went to click everything on, I smelled the smell, and it was in my actual XXT truck. So that truck basically burnt almost all the way to the ground before we got it out, because I could not get the pin out of it when the battery started.
Yeah.
And that's back. I was charging my car, which I never should have done, right? A lot of people still do it. I don't do it anymore. I will never, ever charge in a car ever again. That's the first time we ever met. I left a very hot impression on Jason for sure.
No, he's been just a pioneer in this industry, not only as a racer, but now what he's done with J Concepts and just watching him grow through the years. And just what I tell people usually when they see my posts about J Concepts is that Jay has a relentless focus on just continuing to innovate, and it doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. And I think we need that, as these cars are incredibly complicated pieces of equipment, and J Concepts and many others are just continuing to kind of push that envelope.
Yeah, it's good that he has the vintage bug too. Like if I reach out to him and say, hey, we really need this, he'll normally already say it's in the works. But let's talk a little bit about, because we've, I know I brought out a pair of springs, and I kind of did that on purpose because the springs for these old cars are getting harder and harder to find.
Yes, it's not only the difficulty, which undoubtedly is very real. It's in some cases just the sheer cost of these. Especially if you're an old racer, you remember if you pay for them, you pay $2.
Yeah.
If you didn't pay for them, you save $2. But now when you have to cough up $40 to $50, it's and that inflationary number is real.
Yeah. So you and I were talking, and you were like sending me some pictures, like teasers, like Dirk, what do you think this is? I said, well, I think that's a spring retainer to go to big bores. Or you sent me another picture. I can't remember what it was. And we were playing the little guessing games. But, those things are needed, right? And, I ran a set of them. I'm running a set of them I ran a set on my Kyosho, right? I think these are the ones.
Are the only Kyosho big bore conversions available.
Right.
They're in your car.
Yeah. Yeah. These are the only ones made, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
So, but it helps you get, be able to adapt your springs.
Yeah.
A little differently than I could if I just had the Kyosho springs, which I do have all the Kyosho springs available, but it's just not quite the mount and the different fine tuning that you can get with these retainers, right?
Yeah. And you're leaning into a little bit of, the company that I just kind of launched out of just truly a passion for not only to continue to do things for my own personal racing experience, but as I do that, people go, hey, I'd like to have this and then the other. And you're talking about the spring kind of clips that I developed for the old school cars to be able to run modern springs. And the thinking was this. Number one is a lot of people run modern and vintage. So if you have a lot of springs, you can potentially use springs. Number one. Number two is, let's say you're out there running, Dirk, and you have Kyosho springs, and you tell people come, hey, I like your car, and I'm running this spring and that spring. Chances are they cannot go to the hobby store and get that spring, right? So you have to find a spring rate that's similar, whatever it may be, a spring rate value.
Yeah.
So, but then when they go to the store, all they have is a 12 millimeter or a 13 millimeter spring. And yes, they can get the same rate, but they can't put it in their car.
Yeah.
So the thinking was, can we develop something that allows racers to continue to race either at a lower cost or without the heartache of spending countless hours in the web trying to find these springs, right? So that was kind of the thinking there, and it's kind of evolved. They're available right now on the site for Associated and Losi. You have the Kyosho ones that we're prototyping with on your car, which seem to work well. And yeah, that was just a little fun project. Truth be told, on my cars, I think I see Richard and Benny and a few others, I still run the old school Losi ones because I think they are so cool to be in color.
No, I agree. I agree. And I am all about trying to be a purist in some degree with these cars. But I also, here's the deal. When I first came back, and I'd love to get Brandon Giles and Matthew Stevens on it sometime, they were kind of the ones that, we used to have a track called Extreme RC Raceway where we'd set up in a gym every 2 weeks on carpet. And, I first came back and I went into Matt and I said, hey man, it's nice to meet you. And he was a former AE driver as well from back in the day. And we got to hanging out. I'm like, man, I really want to get some vintage racing started. So we started out with like 4 cars and it by the time it was done, it led to like 3 to 4 heats a week. We ended up adding trucks as well, and it just took off. And, at that point in time, we were adding vintage races or doing vintage races in other areas as well. Like that's when I met Drew at P&T Hobby. We did some events in Chicago. I met Sean during that time, and we were trying to add vintage racing to anything we could, right? We're trying to get it going. And, Eric still had his event. So I met a lot of people at Vonats, and Eric, the Vonats getting ready to hit its 18th year.
Yeah.
I was talking to Jay Halsey today, and he's like, wow, do you know Eric Reichert as well? And I said, yeah, and Eric, we're close friends. And so talking about that, but it's just, it kind of took off. But at the time, it was getting harder and harder to find parts, right? At the time, TM Associated said, yes, we're going to keep making parts. And then they stopped. Then we had some other people step in and start making parts. But some things had to adapt. Like, right, we couldn't find stealth transmissions, right? So there was a transmission designed to be able to put B6 parts in that fits in the cars. Honestly, I don't feel like there's a lot of difference in B6 internals as there are in stealth internals. They're very, very close except for the ratio. But you gotta be able to have, like, there's certain things that are not made for these cars that you kind of need to adapt to to somewhat of a little bit, whether it's modern electronics, shorty batteries, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and listen, I think that's where, when you look through the site, and not to just talk about it, one of the things that I've had a fun time having conversations with folks are, you're showing a little bit of the hex conversion, same principle. Everything on the site really follows a very simple principle. And that simple principle is really just to provide something that's simple and effective. Again, same idea there. People want to run different tires. They go to a hobby store and they go, hey, I need some tires and wheels. Yep. All they have is a modern wheel, right?
Yep.
And so that's what really kind of gave origins to that. And, Associated has done so many things with axles that I didn't have to deal with on the Losi side. So the Losi side was a lot easier. But I think these have been effective at, you may want to run different axles and things of that to get back that track width, whatever you develop, which, by the way, I would love we should talk about during our vintage racing debate, track widths and things of that nature. But that was the idea there. The other one were fan mounts. When I went to
hold on one second. I know I set you a challenge. I said, Jose, we need something, right? I didn't think you were going to be able to come up with this so damn quickly either. Because I said, we need something quick and easy to convert hex, right? Hex wheels, make our modern wheels fit on Associateds or all the others. And you come up with this pretty quick. And I know the people that are running this are very, very happy with it. I have not ran it just yet because I agree in keeping the wheels and different stuff. But this is kind of something that the modern racers have really wanted to be able to swap their wheels and tires over to their vintage cars.
Yeah, and it looks so simple. And Dirk, I think you and I get to chat a lot more about this. The number of iterations, tolerances to make sure that bearings are not coming out or you're not have asymmetry. We took care of all that. As I was sharing earlier, and we found this, especially in the Associated cars, they had a different strategy than Losi did. They came up with different axle links. So, right. So I still encourage people to play with axle links and things of that nature to make sure that they get whatever track width they're looking for. But all in all, this was just trying to come up with a solution to a modern problem with an older car. Right. So it's they've done well. I think we've had 0 failures that I've told me about. But yeah, I think in general, that was the thinking there.
Here's another really cool one I was glad to see. Changing transponders out can be they're expensive, right?
Well, not only they're expensive, this was born. Listen, we can come up with all these stories and maybe I don't know if folks have questions, but this was born. I was in New Jersey and I saw this poor guy. Don't ask me why he did this. And I apologize to him because I don't remember his name because I just heard it in the background. He was racing 3 classes and had 1 transponder.
Oh, wow.
And every time that he would come up, he would be wondering why his car didn't register. And it's because the transponder was still in the other car. So we all had to stop and wait for him to take the transponder out. Then he was looking for servo tape and so forth. Some of us, maybe are fortunate to have a new transponder in every car, right? Whatever. But the idea here was to just give a quick disconnect to a transponder thing. By the way, I'm very open with everybody. I sent one of these to Dirk and he broke it. So I already make modifications to fix it. And that's when he had all 10 fingers. So maybe he won't break it anymore.
maybe I won't put so much pressure on it now.
By the way, Dirk, I did make you a finger cover in yellow. I don't know if you like it in yellow.
Oh my goodness. Sweet. That's my color, baby. Flow yellow.
That's for your finger there. But anyway,
I just want you to know that I do have a digital caliper on the way. It will be here about, I think, Wednesday. Yes, sir. And that way I don't have to send you any digital stuff. You know what?
People don't know that I had to develop things for you with an analog caliper. Yeah.
Right. I'm saying to Jose, he's like, do you really not have a damn digital caliper? I said, man, this is my J Concepts jam right here. Come on.
No criticism.
So, but yeah, I guess having an exact number rather than guessing on a.
It was not Brock.
Like, this is all I need for like.
Brock, who I don't think it was Brock in New Jersey.
You don't think it was Brock?
I don't think so because this.
No, I don't think that would have been Brock either.
Yeah, I don't think it was Brock.
Because Brock's a racer. I don't know that it would have been Brock.
But Yeah.
What Benny say about you? Jose is a great reser. Lives to know him. He's a force to win everything.
Oh my God,
And-
Benny. I took him out to a dinner. We went to Mexican food, and it's a true story. I'm going to embarrass him because he said this. I ordered a dish and it had rice and beans. He looked at the beans and he goes, "What is that?" I go, "Benny, they're beans." He had never seen black beans in his life.
What?
True story, Benny. You can agree to it.
So I took Benny out to dinner, and where the hell were we? I think he came to Mimi's, right?
Oh yeah, he was there.
Yeah. Yeah, he came to Mimi's. So I took him out to dinner there, and him and my wife and all that.
Great guy. Great guy.
Yeah, very, very, very good guy, for sure. Good dude. Benny said true story. So we need to start educating Benny on food a little bit. It sounds like. Well, that's good.
I'm going to spend some time with him in Indiana. He's going to be my roommate in Indiana. So we'll go to get some nicer dinners.
Okay. All right, we will for sure. Sorry, I got a little distracted about something work related.
No worries.
Yeah, great little piece. I've got these in all my cars now as well. It does make it a lot easier. And, being able to buy a $5 part to put in all your cars where it makes it easy to change out is very, very cool. What else we got here?
I think Lance asked, what's the site? It's Z3D, just like the name, parts.com. And go ahead and give us feedback. There's quite a bit of, I think there's 20 or so products right now. Ideas come up. And we try to come up with, so we're open to anything. So let us know. So I don't know if you can post that, but it's the site.
Yeah, let me post the link.
And what I'm trying to do, just so you know, Dirk, for all the races that we attend,
this is a great one too.
Yeah, that was a real fun project. This was Jason. He hit me up. Yeah, he hit me up and he goes, "Jose, I want to go to this race. I have a car. I don't know how to do it." And this is a true story. He did have digital calipers, Dirk, just because I love giving you a hard time. He goes, "I have this project." And I said, "Well, send me the car." He goes, "I can't, but I'll send you some measurements and I'll send you the original tray." I was like, "Oh, gosh."
Yeah.
So, we developed these nifty trays for the BJ4 Worlds Edition. And he has them in his car, and man, they look great. That was such a fun project. So thankful to Jason to giving us the opportunity to do that, and they look super trick on the car.
Oh yeah. All right, I'm trying to post this link real quick. All right, let me do that. Here's the link. Bam. Done. So, I almost think we need something, because something came up, because we're working with the legends in the background and racing their cars. And I know there's options to change whole chassis and do things. But I really think we need something like this for the older 870Cs and stuff as well. I think something like this is kind of needed for those cars.
And I'm open, Dirk. If folks need, they can just reach out. Of course, I have all the Losi platforms. My buddy Frank Denny and Benny have given me loaner associated cars, so I try to develop those, and I try to support some of the Kyosho things kind of through you. So,
I know you've got this one, and I also know that in the background, I didn't even realize this, but Kirby's been working on an aluminum version of this as well.
I saw that today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a really neat option.
Yeah.
This is just a more of a fit option. He's got the full replacement option. I tend to prefer the other one. There's two of these in the site. I don't know if you see the one that has a stem. That was one that go back. I'll show you real quick. It's in your bottom left.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So, for the Losi guys on the call, the idea here was let's fill in the actual hole, because wheels today have a 3mm hole. And of course, we did everything in 440. So these are a little bit more trying. I'm a big, folks that know racing, I'm a big neat freak. Everything has to be tight tolerances and everything. So these make people a little bit nervous because you kind of have a small diameter coming out. But I've had 0 failures on mine. They've been running since Mimi's.
Really?
Which is Mimi's, of course, the Vonats, New
Wow.
Jersey, and the last race. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Hey, Lance. No, it's not very normal to be switching transponders in between cars.
It's also for folks that have like a modern car and vintage
Yeah.
car. You may just want to. It's up to you. It's just something I was bored one day, to be honest with you, and put it together.
But you can, Lance. You can register a transponder, one transponder to different races. It's not something that can't be done. It's just if you get in a back-to-back situation or something, it makes it a little more difficult.
That's right.
But this is more for me. It was more of having, like when I want to run my modern cars, and I have like Jose said, or I have say I take 2 heritage cars, because I took 2 heritage cars this time. And, if I had a transponder holder in one and a transponder holder in another, and I decide I wanted to, go out and practice with another car, or I decided I wanted to switch over from the Halsey car to an RC10 or whatever the case may be, I can do that with ease. But yeah, I agree, Jose. I like the looks of this, and the Losi wheels, Jesus, they're getting hard to find, man.
Absolutely.
So with this, what wheels are you running, Jose? Let's talk about that. So,
listen, I'm a J Concepts guy. They make, in my opinion, the best products out there, and I run J Concept wheels on all my cars.
So what wheels specifically?
Oh gosh, for the partner, it's the same ones that you run the associated cars. So if you go to the site, you'll find them there. They're the mono wheels. I think they only make one mono wheels for the modern cars, either in yellow and white. And they work on associated cars. They work on Losi cars, and they're great. And what's really nice that Jay does, he sends 4 wheels on a package instead of just buying 2.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which I think is great.
That's these right here, the T64 XT.
Those are the ones I run on my truck. Yep.
Yeah. So it's got to be these J Concepts wheels.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, like right now, I don't have wheels. That's one reason I haven't changed my tires in so long. I didn't have wheels.
Yeah.
So now I can convert my XXT over to using your adapters.
Yeah, and when I was at Mimi's, I just used the same modern wheels that I had because I just had I had a week to get everything ready for that race, so I just used my modern wheels, and that's what gave origins to all this stuff.
Clay Keats, do you know Clay from back in the day of Cali?
Gosh, this is where I feel bad putting him in the spot, but I'm got to be honest. I can't see his face in the picture, so I'm a visual guy, so I'm going to go with him.
He kind of got his claim to fame. I think he won the 2nd King of the Streets drag race.
Okay. Never done drag. I've never done drag racing. It's
and then his daughter is my little RC princess. She races for Team Associated. So yeah, hopefully he's coming. He better come. Look at that, Benny quick, man. Bam.
Look at that.
Shooting them numbers out.
That's my guy
I'm gonna fact check his ass. Is he right?
Go to the search. Go to the top.
Yeah.
Go to the search.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Right under your shopping cart. See right there with a little hour. There we go.
Let's see how good Benny is. 3403Y.
Good.
Wait a minute. 3403Y. Huh. Oh, he's talking about that stadium or the RC10 ones. So he said 3418. Wow.
I think the Y.
I think it's because I'm putting the yellow in.
This is 3418. I think it'll work.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, so those are the truck ones.
Oh, that's the truck ones with the bearings.
Yeah, that's the original RC. Yeah, he just
that's the original front.
So now they offer them, which is great. But I again, the thinking is if you go to a hobby store, they may not have them. So, people can have choices and do whatever, stock up at home or whatever.
But it's a different offset for the Losi. These do not work on the Losi. It totally changes the offset completely.
That's right. But
these work great on an RC10, but I've tried it and
They don't
Wayne Walter was there. He goes, "What the hell have you got on that Losi? That's the wrong damn wheels. Your whole offset's changed."
The new head.
That's why it ain't running worth a shit. You got associated wheels on it. I love my boy. I love Dwayne. I look forward to you getting to spend some time with him.
I'm looking forward to it.
He is one hell of a painter too. So, you know better than I know. All right. So yeah, I mean, you've come up with some impressive stuff, dude.
Yeah, no, it's been a great project. It's been a lot of fun. The feedback we're getting is great. I think, we have, there's from fan mounts. The bumper was really what gave the origins. That bumper that you see right there.
Yeah.
I think they're going for like $50 to $60.
And I think these might be being made and print. But yeah, I mean, good. So you got 3D printed stuff, right?
Absolutely.
My old concern is, shit, I'm putting 3D printed stuff on my car.
Yeah.
So a lot has changed in 3D printing since 3D printing started. Are you having has anybody come to you and said, "Hey man, this stuff's just wearing out," or "My bumper broke my first race," or?
Listen, like I said a few minutes ago, and I mean it. I love feedback. You had that break on the transponder mount and immediately looked into it. And made a few changes. Like any manufacturing, if you do not pay attention to corners and things of that nature, things fail, right? I mean, that's just the reality of it. I've been fortunate that we broke a couple fan mounts at the race in North Carolina, but primarily was because the fan mounts now in the rear end of the car. The modern car has them inboard, as you know, and there was two instances happened. One is the marshal grabbed it right by it and saw it. And the other one is, I think it was Frank's car got hit pretty hard on the rear end and it snapped it. So those things are going to happen. But in terms of failures because of either manufacturing or design, we really haven't seen any. We spend a lot of time not claiming that they're perfect. Look, and you and I have talked about it, but it's good for folks. 3D printing is an amazing innovation, right, in manufacturing. It's enabled a lot of folks to do stuff at home, which is great. But, if one's not careful, you could either choose the wrong material, too brittle, not good on high temperatures or whatever it may be, or your design may have a corner or something that really is a failure mode for a particular part. So as I was sharing earlier, for the folks that have been on, I can tell you that before it goes on our site, we actually do a lot of testing. I send stuff to Frank. I've sent stuff to you and others and Benny and others to try for fit, to try for finish. And once we like the fit, then we switch to materials. For example, our fan mounts are on a more heat resistant material than our other parts because they're next to the motor and things of that nature. So we look at a lot of things from material design choices to designs to try to make something that, will last. So thankfully, Dirk, it's been good. I don't think we've had any failures because of something silly. But it will happen. But when that happens, we'll make modifications.
Okay. All right. So I mean, I know there's been a question. There's always the great debate: fan versus no fan, right? What do you? I mean, you're out there smoking people, right? Literally. So, what do you feel the true advantage of running a rear motor fan is on these vintage cars?
Listen, and I think we're going to have this as part of our debate because there's this mindset that back in the day, in the 80s, we did not run fans. 100% true. A lot of things have changed. Number one is we're not running 7-point-something volts. We're running 8.4.
Yeah.
Number two is we're not running brush motors. We're running, brushless motors. For people that may remember the 90s, if you were racing, on my XX4, we were changing brushes and cutting motors all the time because they were getting so hot.
Yeah.
You were burning them. I would have loved to have a fan back then.
Yeah.
So to me, the fan is just, in essence, it's a peace of mind. The reasons the fans were born was because of Mimi's. Mimi's, as you know, Dirk, is incredibly high bite track.
Yeah.
You put a lot of load on your electronics. And my motor was coming out at 130, 140. after 5 minutes, and I knew that we were going to run 8-minute mains. So I found some plastic, and I just kind of came up with something. Literally, as you know, I had that car for a week, and I said, this cannot be a fail, because as all we know, as your motor gets hot, it starts drawing more current, right? It becomes inefficient, right? So now you start getting all kinds of other things. You can think of the motor gets soft, the magnets get hot, it's not performing well. So why even allow that to be in your mind? So to me, I truthfully don't understand why this is an old school versus new school. This is just about, in the modern era, electronics are different. We're running higher voltages. Mains are longer.
Yeah.
Why even entertain running at 120, 130, 140 when you know that the optimal temperature is going to be about between 90 and 110? So we have found in every case that these fan mounts give you about 20 degrees difference reduction in endpoint temperature, which is real. So from a motor fade, for a motor longevity, in my mind, $20, if you think about how much a fan costs plus a mount, whatever, to preserve your race or your $110, $150 motor, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So, and this is not about what I'm doing. It's just, there's a reason why every modern car today has a fan.
Right.
Not because they're modern, because these electronics demand it and these tracks demand it.
Yeah. So I see kind of here, you've got kind of the mount just kind of right on top, and this is on the...
That looks to me, that's on a Stealth, right? No,
Yeah,
that's
that is on a Stealth.
That's the B2 mount. Yeah. So now we offer for the 6. My favorite one, listen, I don't even have a car, is the one for the 6-gear tranny, because I thought it came out so slick. We have it for, I think, every associated car up to the B3. And then, of course, we have it for the double X, the double XT. They're a little bit taller in height.
Yeah.
I saw that somebody said that they need one for the BK2. I have a BK2 here, Richard. So if you really want one, I can pull one out. I'm not going to race it, but I can pull one out and kind of come up with something to satisfy that for you.
All right. So, one of the cool things, I know you and I are talking, there was really no kind of adjustability, any design made for the B2, B3, and the XX and the XXT, and of course the T3 for your shorties. So you were quick. I've got it on the screen now. You were quick to respond on that one, and came up with a mount that works great. And I think did Denny? I guess he ran this past race, this mount for the B3.
Yeah, a few folks had it. I think Frank had it. Of course, I ran it on my cars. I think you had it on your truck.
Yeah.
I believe Richard may have had it on his. And what was really the fun design part about this, a lot of people don't realize is lipos come in 3 different sizes. You may not. A lot of people don't realize it. We all worry about how big it is in the length and width, but the height can be 18, 20, up to 25 millimeters. Well, these cars were built for sub-C cells. And if you're old enough to remember that when we were putting 3,000 cells on our cars near the end of that era, our battery braces were bulging because they were higher, right? Those batteries.
Right.
So I wanted to come up with something, spend a lot of time thinking about a brace for these cars that in one direction you can have the lower one. I don't know if you can see it. And on the other one, if you flip it, now you can entertain the taller battery.
Right.
So one brace that allows you to do it. Now, for those of you that are running Velcro, you're in good shape, right? But for people that are not, then you're not. So you're kind of stuck buying a battery. Some of these races, I don't know what you're going to have in Indiana, but if you're running a 10-minute main on a 4-wheel drive car or an 8-minute main, and you're running a 4,000 milliamp battery, you're not going to take a lot of hot laps warming up, right? Because you're worried about that. So the idea here is you can have the flexibility to do this. The other advantage is if you're running a skinny pack, we had to do this, which I was surprised in Wilson. A lot of our cars were underweight. So then we had to put chassis weights. Well, what I have, many folks have it in the modern world, is battery weights that are the same. They sit into the battery, but they raise your battery, right?
Yeah.
So now you can flip these mounts to give you that opportunity and that tunability, either to meet weight or to do something different.
Yeah, I mean, it was so creative that you came up with that so quickly, and I love the system. As you and I talked about, still recommend running foams in front or behind, but it just gives you a little more stability.
Yeah, it's a great training option, right? Where you're practicing, you can move your battery really quick.
Yeah.
But once you like where you're at,
yeah,
like everything in racing, give yourself the mental surety. If you get hit, if you come off with a big jump, you got a big mass. So just put foams, just keep it there to make sure that it doesn't move on a big hit, and you can have the best performing car you can possible.
Yeah. Sorry, dealing with a little work stuff here. So yeah, we talked about, the XXT. I showed you, hey, you got a little bit of slop. I used to run Velcro in mine, but I didn't like the fact of Velcro and having that in the car. But we talked about, kind of the XXT and how we had a little bit of movement.
Yep.
You're like, man, I already come up with a solution for that. And you brought me up like what looked like a little base plate that had the groove in it that made it flat.
Yeah, that's in the site now. The double X chassis kind of has this funky bathtub looking thing in the bottom.
Yeah.
Where the cell sit. But of course, the modern battery kind of tends to rock a little bit within that piece. So I was like, well, why don't we fill it up? So these are all the advantages of kind of 3D printing. We don't have 2, 3, 4 months to wait for a part to get made, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of these parts were born out of my own curiosity or people like yourself and others having a need. And, if there's enough of an interest, then we'll give it a try.
Sweet, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you joining me, and I appreciate, the friendship that we have gained over the past. Hell, it's been. I guess it's not. It almost is a year now.
We're on our anniversary.
Are we?
Yes, we're almost there. I made you a gift. For your anniversary.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I need it.
I got you.
I should take this off and show y'all, but I don't want to gross you out.
It's getting better. I just hope.
Did you put me like some fingertips in it that say we are AE or something like that? Like
I will engrave whatever you want on it. This is the prototype, right? So as
soon as I get my caliper in, I will send you the measurements.
That's right.
We were looking at, my wife and I were looking at tonight, and it almost looks like I'm going to have a fingernail bed. So we will see. I thought it cut it off right behind the fingernail bed, but we'll see. Maybe I won't be called Stumpy or Digit or.
No, we're still going to call you that. I mean,
are you? Okay.
Part of the fun, the old school,
dude. The racing. Look at here.
That's it.
Well, wait a minute. Let me go
that
back.
Was the part. That was but that's what you need to buy. Yes.
Yes, I got one coming. I think it's that same one actually.
Good.
But Jose, thank you, and I'm excited to what you bring to vintage racing. I think there was a comment from Jason Santos on there earlier that said you need to turn your radio down to 80. I was thinking more like 65 to give everybody else a better chance, but
all ideas are considered.
Maybe we had you start a lap behind everybody else or something. That is something that is being debated as well. And I've been having a lot of conversations in the background is, do we need to have a class that is like open, and then, do we need to have 3 different levels for the main classes for the people? But, it's just all a matter. I personally want to race against the best and learn from them and try to be better. But we'll see. We'll see how this evolves, because a lot of people for vintage, they're just coming out to have fun, right? And they would like to be able to be competitive. But when somebody's just putting their car on the ground 2 to 3 times a year, there's no way they're going to be as good and competitive as somebody like you. So, I guess it's just something that we need to continue talking about and see where that goes long term. But we're really going to try to utilize the March race furthest, because I think we'll have probably the largest vintage attendance we've ever had at a U.S. vintage race.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good time to kind of gauge it and take good notes and talk to the people that are there and really see what they want.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have a great debate, and we don't have to even begin that now, but there's a lot of ways to think about it. I think the struggle ultimately is really trying to reconcile what does this vintage journey look like, and what are we looking to do, and give recognition that because it is vintage by definition, you're really covering spans of decades. So in that span, you have different classes that you're really separating vehicles in. And then if you then break that down into whatever you want to call it, a spot pro class or a sportsman track, then you're going to end up with, 3 people per class, right? So then you have another issue to consider. So at the end of the day, there has to be a lot of reflection that how do we figure out what the right balance is where we preserve whatever it is, the vintage spirit, the fun, and the competitive, because we're all racers at the end of the day, right? So for myself, I love to just race. I'm there to compete against myself, and if I leave the weekend and finish last, and I felt like I did my best, for me, that personally is okay, right? So I am, that's how I motivate myself and to race any race that I'm at, and for somebody else, it may be different, right? So my point is trying to figure out that balance without creating dilution, by i.e., 20 different classes with.
Yeah, it gets hard. Like I'm working, I'm working with Team Associated on the Vegas race as well. Trying to get ready for it, and it looks like we have decided to go with more of the European rules that they've been using over there for many years at the vintage races, and it almost gives me a headache to look at it. I think it's going to be amazing because it really separates the cars. But like you're saying, are there going to be enough of each car to fill that void?
Yeah, and
now, if you have 500 cars, there probably are.
Yeah, and
it's just. But what we're seeing is, I don't know. It's different for different events. Like the Willie class used to be a very, very popular class. And it was one of my funnest classes to race. Like it was in North Carolina last year, but it was there this year. But the new little cars, in my opinion, were in that class. So I think it's a matter of, we got some things to figure out, and we got to be willing to listen and evolve. And I don't want to do a whole lot of debating tonight because we'll save that for the. As Jason said, we already have too many vintage classes. Honestly,
and I think there's some truth to that. It's just I think it's going to be a really rich discussion. At the end of the day, Dirk, every person is going to have an opinion. You know that. Everybody's different. I personally always try to sign up for the biggest classes possible. I want to race against as many people as possible. That's how I am wired.
Yeah, and Jason, Rono, and I have talked about this a lot too. It's it is evolving, and you got people that are competitive, you got people that aren't competitive, but when it comes to it, you gotta do your best to do your research and set your rules the way you want them to be set, and you got to stick with them, right? You can't let every one of your buddies call you and try to divert you from doing this or doing that. The XX and the B3 coming into the 2-wheel drive class have kind of changed things. To me, I still think a world's car is as good. Others think I'm crazy.
I'll be honest with you. You were there, Dirk. Dave McEwen had his short arm car, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Short arm car would have qualified, I believe, 5th in the main. Dave can correct me if he sees this video. 5th with a 21.5 motor and a 6.
He would have been 5th in the A main.
I think he would have been 5th in the A main.
Right. Yeah.
So
he turned 19 laps with that car.
Yeah.
And it was a true short arm RC10
with a 21.5
with 2.2 tires on it. did not have the bigger axles on the front or the bigger arms on the front.
Yeah.
He just dialed down his steering, and he made that damn thing work, man. Absolutely. And that setup is posted for, wow, that car was just impressive.
So my point is, I mean, as time progresses, innovation is going to bring, new technology or a car that's whatever, easier to drive, faster, whatever it may be. But many of these cars are, if you spend the time and you put in the work, you have the right tires. That should be part of our debate. I had one individual come to me to the race, and I only have silvers. I can't, and I said, well, he goes, do you think they're going to work? And I go, well, I don't know, because I'm only running greens. And he goes, well, what do you think about silvers? And I told the guy, I said, I have no idea, because I only have greens, right? And
so what were you running? Were you running wore out octagons or something?
Green octagons are discontinued. The green ellipse, yeah.
So did you just wear them down? Because I know that I saw.
I sanded them at home to almost like a ghost, because I knew I only had one set. Right. I wasn't going to sand them to a smoothie, so I kind of left like a ghost tread there. And then as I practiced it, they naturally just became slicks, right?
Yeah.
So that's
which I ran silvers all weekend and liked them a lot.
And silver would have been, my car would have not been good on silvers, because you set up your car to whatever tire you have there.
Right.
But in my mind, especially with how cold that building was.
Yeah.
Especially on Saturday, silvers would have not had the grip that a green had, right? So I committed to a tire. I had silvers with me, but I never even took them out of the bags. I committed to a tire that I know felt good, and then I only had to worry about the fine tuning, right? That really fine tuning, a spring or a whatever. So, I think in general, but tires. My point is that tires are super important. And having that right tire is, I think
it is
a lot better.
It is. I mean, do you think a green smoothie is needed?
I have begged Jason, if he hears us, to do it. I think there are markets like,
or even a black,
I think black's a little bit too soft. The problem is, especially a slick tends to be a sauce tire.
Yeah.
And once you sauce them, that material gets so thin, and then you start getting the rollover effect. Yeah. And then you're going to have to start playing with foams, and then it gets expensive, right? Or more complicated.
Yeah. So, I personally thought the silvers were fine. I mean, I had plenty of grip. I didn't have, I was running,
but you committed to the silver,
FDJ silver sauce and, the silver tires and my cars were fine. I didn't struggle for grip, any at all. Early in the weekend, so the track started to come in. I struggled a little bit in some spots, but
you as a season racer were patient and waited for the track to come to you.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe a not so experienced racer would really either stress out or struggle with that and start making drastic changes to his or her car. And then all of a sudden, then the track comes, and then now he's got too much traction, and it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Right? So it just goes back to, we have to, we have an environment where folks are seasoned or experienced or have patience or don't have patience or whatever. But it's I think that we're all there to help and provide an experience. I got to tell you, you guys have done a remarkable job. It's been a blast. I tell my wife, I have not gone on a plane for an RC race since 2004.
Right.
The first one I'm doing is Indiana because of your race. So
dude, let me show you something real quick. Let me see if I can find it. I had it up. Let me see if I can get this in here. I mean, just look at this. You got Greg Hodat, Curtis Hustings, Chris Dosick, Jimmy Babcock.
I'm going to help you with Travis's pronunciation when you get to him, by the way.
Yes, thank you. He's not on here yet. We still got to ask him. I want to talk about this. I'm probably not even supposed to be showing this. This is kind of some stuff we're working on in the background. You got Dean Carnes, Stinky Pinky, big into no prep now. Matt Francis, Joel Johnson, Brian Dunbar, Matt Olson, Jason Runo, Al Horn, Eustace Moore, Adam Rails, Matt Ledger, Gabe Boudreau, and then, of course, the founding fathers, Mike Kirby, Drew, myself, and Crazy Eddie. But we've also added, since this, we've added Pavitas and Travis
Amescua.
There
you go.
Travis Amescua.
There you go.
So I'm going to be honest. I didn't know a lot about Travis and my good buddy. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes I can't remember my own damn name. Oh, my goodness.
You can just leave him as your good buddy.
No, I feel very bad right now. Theo.
Theo Captanis. Theo's a good buddy.
Theo Captanis. I guess y'all raced together back in the days too. Theo and So he was telling me, hey, Travis really wants to come, and Travis has I think his box art's on the Triple X, right? One of the Triple X.
The Triple XCR, the EA edition.
Yeah. So they say he was the real deal Holyfield back in the day. And I know y'all raced a lot.
He had the best hair.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. I'm curious if he's going to bring out the hair.
Did he wear
He used to bleach it.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. I know there was some of that going on back in the day.
We should ask Theo for a picture. I think there's a picture out there of him and Travis.
Okay.
With a bleach blonde hair. Many people did. A Cavalier had it.
Yeah. So, I did, big list, right? Huge list, keeps growing. A lot of world champions on this list.
Yeah.
You got Curtis and Eustace, to me, which were two of the most instrumental people in engineering in the industry.
Sure.
Hands down.
We got to get
Say what?
We got to get Junior.
So here's the deal with Junior. Junior wants to come, and he thinks what we're doing is absolutely amazing. But here's the deal. You got sometimes, depending on what job you're in or whatever the case may be, that you make your commitments very, very early on, right? If there's a way for Junior to be there, I know he will be there. Halsey, same boat. Halsey, I'm certain is going to be there. I'm just not sure he's going to be there for the whole time. So I'm waiting. He told me I should have an answer by the end of next week on what days he will be there. And we still have people reaching out. I think the addition of Pavitas is huge. And,
Mark's great.
I reached out to Team Associated and I said, guys, we're going to have to bring it, man, because Losi is bringing some folks. They are bringing some folks. They got the almost the 97 podium lined up. You know what I mean?
Yes, but you are having a lot of the classic Losi drivers drive associated cars, though. Isn't Matt and Jimmy driving associated cars?
So Francis is going to be driving an associated car.
He did win with his V2 originally.
Yeah,
but
he did. Yes, he did.
Losi.
And that's the deal. We talked about, the other night, we talked a little bit about silly season and what it was back then versus what it is now. So Jimmy will be, Jimmy's going to be driving an associated car. Of course, Ledger, of course, will be driving an associated car.
Yeah, you have a lot of.
What?
What's Gabe driving?
Pavitas, of course, will be driving an associated car.
Pavitas has been associated. Yeah. What's Gabe driving?
And I don't know. We've got some options with the cars. I know Associated's wanting them to run some of the current cars that they're producing, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the background that we don't know about that may happen before the March race, that they may introduce the March race, and that may be what they're driving and surprise all of us, right? Typically I'm in the loop on a lot of that, but I think recently, because they brought Masami in, they brought Pavitas in. I think Pavitas will be announced soon as doing something. But Halsey, of course. So there's a lot of that going on in the background right now. And then of course you got Craig Drescher that is very involved as well, and he's helping with this Vegas race. And, there's a rules committee and there's a lot of stuff going on in the background for that. And, trying to figure that out. Like as soon as we get on that off tonight, I gotta finish diving through different things and sending my opinion on some things. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out and how much time I have to commit. Right now my commitment is the March race, and thankful to all these guys, that are coming. I mean, Jesus. I mean, it's seeing this lineup is like, wow. It's incredible, to have these many people coming and more that want to come and will be there if they can. So
No, it's a great lineup.
And I have a feeling we're going to have some legends show up that just are not saying anything. They're just going to come. Right.
No, you guys have done a great job. Promotion's been incredible. I think it's going to be fun. And I think this event, what's going to be, in my mind, what's going to be special about this event is really the fact that we're going to be able to race in a great facility. We're going to be able to run many of these cars that created so many memories, but we're able to kind of rekindle a lot of the history that we spent. I mean, Matt and I was in Northern California, so Matt and I raced together for a long time, and it was such good times and so many memories from golfing to this or whatever. Yeah. So it's going to be, I think it's going to have a lot of elements that really make this event unique and hard to replicate. And it'd be fun if you can make some of these kind of like historical moments. Funny, when you saw Gabe would probably shoot me for this, but probably not. One of the worlds, he said that if he made the main, he was going to do this Irish dance. Have you seen that video?
I have not. Did he?
So and he did around the entire track. He did this Irish dance. I don't remember.
Can we pull that video out? Where can I find that? Is that
I'm sure go to YouTube or somebody here has it. Gabe Boudreau, RC Irish dance. I don't know. I'm scared of what's going to come out of that one. But he did this dance around the track and he owned it. But these are some of those, kind of silly in the moment things that many of us got to experience. I think in general, make this event kind of like unique, right? I'll find it and I'll send it to you. So now I don't know where.
I gotta have it. Maybe I don't do it now.
I'll text him and I'll ask him. I'm sure he's got it. But
I'm hoping to have him and hopefully Travis on together. Is kind of what I'm thinking right now. I've got so many damn screens open.
Now, Gabe better have a Losi car.
He will. He will have a Losi car. Thanks to Mike Kirby. And just so you know, here's kind of what we're doing with the legends. So any legend that wants us to put together a car, get it tested, get it ready, all the way, hands down, painted bodies. Got my buddy Dwayne Walter. Doing a lot of these paint jobs, these recreating the schemes. You might have seen Hodap's done. Of course, Dean Carnes just wants pinks. I don't know what the hell. I'm sure Dwayne will come up with something fun, and I'm sure our buddy, because him and he's got. There's a lot of those guys that were just like best friends, right? When you traveled around, you went to these hotels and stayed and did all that stuff together. A lot of these guys were just like best friends. So I know him and Dunbar spent like a lot of time in the hotels together. So I'm sure there's a lot of funniness that's going on in the background as well to get these cars ready. But what we're doing is we're preparing these cars, and whoever prepares the car for them will allow them to drive the car. And what we're asking is that when they are done with the race, they sign that car and they give it back to whoever brought that car to them, which I think is really cool. That gives, of course, Mike Kirby's probably going to have like 9 cars in the Legends race because he's got so much stuff, man. But I think that's a cool little way to do it, and then you've got some that may want to carry these cars on to the Vegas race or to the, to Eric's race, the Bonats. So we'll do our best to work with them on that stuff. But I just think it's really cool. And that's what you talked about earlier. The vintage community is really stepping up to make this happen and, make these legends when they get there to the track. We got Robert Stevens in the background doing a lot of building. You got Adam Rails doing a lot of building. You got Brian Dunbar really helping the Losi crew, getting cars ready and testing cars and doing all that stuff. So we're trying to make it, same with Joel. I mean, a lot of testing went on with the Kyosho from Drew, and, to have that, a lot of the guys there from that home track to be able to do this it means a lot. I mean, how many races, let me just ask you this question. How many events are going to take the time to do this type of stuff, right? It's not going to happen. You just don't have the people putting the effort and the work that is being put into this.
Yeah,
and,
I think
I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm just going to be honest.
You should be. It's unprecedented in many ways. Back in the day, Mike just put it. It's a 97 Worlds in Pomona, which, by the way, Mike, thank you for being on. Mike's a great buddy of mine, big time guy. I will be with him and his kids next week. I'm trying to convince him to get into the vintage community. So I'm working on that. And, but I think what you're doing here and the team is unprecedented on everything that we talked about, but also just the marketing, right? I think RC needs this. Granted, we're marketing a lot to ourselves because it's a vintage community. We're trying to do that. But from the promotion and trying to raise visibility and create sponsorship, making it fun, and you doing the thing about the hotel and kind of, all those pieces. Back in the day, I don't think it had this magnitude because we were living the moment. But you may recall, and some of people on this that are listening may remember, the agony that people went to develop the flyer and to create awareness. And for people, we would be staying in the same hotel and people would be walking. You would go to the hotel and just racers going from room to room. And if you were a Losi guy, the team manager, Trujillo, or Adam, when he was there, boxes full of stuff and just sitting there and laughing, and Brian wrenching and whatever. And I think that, there was a lot of effort that was put in to those events. And I think that level of effort are things that you guys are doing right now and trying to invoke the whole vintage community, the bringing of that.
Yeah.
So it's,
ideally when I had this idea, it was, as myself and Mike Kirby sitting around spitballing, but I wanted to have a reunion and get all the people from the 80s and the 90s together. And then I also wanted to, Jason said it in the interview best. It's like, he sat down with people like the Spencers and the Mayfields and said, you guys just don't understand what it was like back then, and tried to get them to understand. So ideally my ultimate goal was to get the current champions and the previous champions together in one building so they could collaborate and spend some time with each other and do those things. And I think we'll get some of it, for the current champions that are not coming. I think they're missing. I think they're missing out on something that is very, very special. And, that may not happen again. I hope we can recreate it and continue recreating it and letting it grow and get better every year. But I think they're missing the opportunity to truly hear some great stories and what founded racing, RC racing, right? It was different back then. And, I got to see it a little more because I used to go to races like every week. Like I was going to big races and travel, and I did some A scale, I did some 10 scale, I did a lot of different things. But I saw the Spencers and the Taters and the Schimmels. I saw them grow up from kids, right? And I really wanted to see them be in the same building with all these legends so they could see, right, what it was about, the camaraderie, the stories. So we'll see. Maybe this year is not the year where we see it. Hopefully, Aiden Horn and, I'm really close to the Schimmel still. And, Spencer, not as much as I used to be. But I would love to see, Matty G and I talked about it a little bit last week, or not last week, a couple weeks ago at the Clash. I really want them to be able to experience that. And I think it'd be super cool.
Yeah, and I've always wondered, you said a couple things. It is that time was different. And just like, if we were here 30 years from now, people will be looking at now and say it was different, right? And I've always wondered, at least in my mind, what created that difference. Number one is I think cars were not that good in comparison. Today, you can have a car in your shelf, the electronics, put new tires, go to the track and have fun, right? And whatever. Back then, we were with Dremels, we were cutting motors, we
Oh,
were
yeah.
forced to wrench on our cars literally 8 hours after the race was over, the day was over, to get it ready for the next day, right? And all that created an ecosystem. You see all these pictures of people in their rooms with beer or music or whatever it may be, and we're just wrenching all night long.
All night long.
I think that created also part of that dynamic where we're just spending so much darn time with each other. Where now is, truthfully, I think it's a good thing. I leave the track, I put my cars in my hotel room, and I wake up the next day and here we go again. And that you put them on the track and they're pretty darn good.
Yeah. Most time I don't take my cars to the hotel anymore. They stay at the track if it's a weekend event, and I don't take them and wrench them unless I have something major going on. Right.
Yeah. We were going
the last time I went to the Vonats, I had a clod that broke a major part, and we were sitting in the hotel room till like 2 a.m. in the morning, trying to figure that thing out in the middle of the lobby, me, Eric, and a few other guys. I'll never do that shit again because, I hate working on Tamiya's. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah. So, I'm just always curious as, I think that that period in time was special because I think the environment that we were racing in created a lot of connections, right? And I think part of it is because we spent so much damn time with each other.
Do you think the young guys care about that now? You think they care about the relationships?
Listen, as a parent of a 17 and a 20-year-old, it's hard for me to say they don't care, but it's different, right? There's so much, in the RC world, cars are just easier. You put them together and you can just run them, right? And you couldn't do that before.
Yeah.
Number two is I think that there's a lot of competition, the cell phone, the this, the whatever, right? They're not maybe as present as we had to be back then in that particular moment. Do they care? I would say yes. I mean, these people, especially if you're a pro driver today, you're still trying to do a livelihood and do well at races and things of that nature. So, I mean, I think it's just, I don't know if care is the word that comes to at least my mind, Dirk. I think it's just different.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure they care. I know they care about racing. I know they care. I just, it seems different. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try to send, and I got to get off soon because I got a lot of work to do.
This has been fun.
Yeah. So Retro RC had the rules been out. Yeah, the rules have been out for a while. I've got them posted right here. I'm gonna try to. One of the things we're trying to do, because there's been so much information, I'm going to share the link to the race, and you should be able to find everything. I believe we got the rules. Let me pull this over. So I'll send because you can look up, if you type in the vintage class, the J Concepts Vintage Clash of Champions, you're going to have all kinds of stuff come up. So here's kind of the event page, and down in you got Seymour. You got the RC signups where you can go. And when you go to RC signups, the good thing is you can, on each class, there's a button you can click and it will show you the rules for each class, which is really cool. I've got the hotel and the block rates. I've got the airport that you'd be flying into. I know there is a lot more than this in here as well. The rules are listed down through here also. Discussions. Click on the discussions tabs. This is where Drew's done like the video. Well, you're not seeing this right now. I'm like, what the hell? All right, hold on one second. So I've got it up here. We've got a lot of different things. There's talks on the thing. We've got the different drivers that have been confirmed, plus some have come since then. Right here, which I'll copy this link and share it. You've got the schedule. You've got the flyers. You got the sponsors. You got the video. You got all the rules. So I'll share this into our video. I'll say that. So let me copy the link. Copy. Oh. Oh my goodness.
Dirk, I found the video of Gabe Boudreaux dancing. I'm going to send it to you.
Did you really?
Yeah. So you guys.
I kind of want to see it.
And I'll give you the exact minute because it's only a 10-second thing. Give me a.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're going to have to make him do this. And you can blame me for that. So I just
posted the link to where you can find all the stuff. All right. So you just send it to me.
Yes. I'll send it to you. And when you
should we show it now or should I wait?
I think you should show it. I show it now, but that's just me.
Okay, let's see what we got here. You just sent it to me.
All right. Yeah, and go to minute 3:18. So, by the way, while you're doing that, Benny brought up a good point. You know, I think that back then you had to rely on your team, right? And right now you get to see a lot of people working individually, which I've noticed that at races, by the way. So that's a great point. So minute 3:18 on the video that I sent you.
Okay, let me share the right screen again. Hold on. There's Hodat.
We can't see it yet.
Oh, there's Hodat.
Yeah. Go to 3:18.
You don't want to see Hodap's great hair?
Oh, I love Hodap. I have Greg. 3:18. I just wanted you to see this because.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna give it a couple seconds. I hope he's watching.
Oh, no audio. Look at that. So I want to see that against all around the Hoosier track.
That's awesome, man.
It is.
Now I can probably sit here and watch this video all night.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I'm gonna let you go. I need to do some.
Well, listen. Thanks for the invite.
Background. I mean, I think this great debate. We're gonna try to see if we can't. Hold on. Let me mute this thing. I think this debate we're gonna have is gonna be really cool. You know, the good thing about vintage RC is everybody's allowed points. Everybody's allowed the different things. When it's all said and done, I think we all care about the same thing as well. And that's vintage RC cars and hanging out with our buddies and having a little fun. So regardless, you know, to me, I can tell you what it is about. And I've said it multiple times. To me, it's about growing vintage racing because I would love for the next 10 years to be able to travel around, spend time with my buddies and race these cars. And also, you know, hopefully start to draw some interest from the other age groups in these cars as well. So I don't care what surface you put me on. You can put me on carpet. You can put me on grass. You can put me on loose dirt. You can put me on tight dirt. You can put me on concrete. I don't care. You give me these cars. You bring my friends together. We're going to have a good time.
I agree.
I don't care what the surface is. I really don't. You know, it's funny. We used to have an invitational race down in Florida that only certain drivers got invited to, and it was held in the middle of the Tampa Bay. There's a big park there, and they used to come in. They cut the grass real short. They bring wood ramps and stuff in, and we go out there and race on that, and that's kind of what. A lot of the European racing is like that. You start to wear in a groove after a while, and there's wood jumps, different jumps, and dude, I don't care. I don't care what the surface is. Just let me race.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. When I first came back, I kind of made fun of it. I was like, damn, this is just concrete dirt. And as I've learned more about it and adapted myself and my driving styles, I love it.
Yeah. And truthfully, I think that you have to be nimble and adapt to whatever's at you. And maybe it's a circuit dirt that it's a little bit of all surfaces. One race is one and one's the other. These are all things to think about. Jason invited me to that race in Insanity RC. I got to tell you, in New Jersey, and I got to run pin tires on and no sauce and everything, and it was a blast. It was a great surface, still hard packed. So it brought new memories, but I think all of these experiences bring memories, and in my mind, it's just about preserving all that and having an opportunity to just have a good time with our buddies.
Does the name Scott Brown ring a bell?
Absolutely, from Washington, Tacoma. Scott was a big deal. I haven't heard from Scott. He used to have a shop. Maybe he does Tacoma RC.
Yeah, he still does.
Yeah. What's that?
Somebody just reached out and said we should really reach out to Scott. I don't.
Scotty's great. Scott Hughes is another guy.
Oh yeah, Scott Hughes is another big name. You're right.
There's this industry, like all have been, have had some really, really impressive individuals that have come. So yeah, I've talked about it. I think if you get 2 full heats, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Jason just said I will not show up for carpet. Whatever, Jason.
I'm with Jay. I think I'm kind of with Jason here. None of my cars, modern and of course vintage, have never been on a carpet track.
You want to hear what I used to say the same thing, man. And I started racing carpet, and I was an addict of it. I loved it because your cars come off so clean, your lines are consistent. There is a little tire wear involved in carpet racing where you got to keep your tires just right, not too sharp, not too. I really enjoyed it, and we had a lot of fun with the vintage cars on it. I've had some people reach out to me wanting us to do carpet events, and I'm just like, man, I might. I said, yeah, I don't know. I would like to, and we used to have big races and the Extreme Carpet Nationals. And we had typically 2 to 3, 3 to 4 heats of 2-wheel drive and a couple heats of trucks that come and race that race. And it was a lot of fun, but it was kind of a mix of modern and old. But
I don't know if you want to repeat Jerome's, but listen, I'm sure I'd enjoy carpet racing as well. I just never have done it, so I'm sure I'll find a way to do it one of these days.
Jerome. I gotta hide that comment.
Yeah, hey, but I've never done it, and I'm sure it'll be fun. I just know that the impacts are harder, right? The harder the surface is, the impacts are harder. So, there's always going to be that dance, that delicate dance to do. But I don't know.
Like anything, you hit the pipes, you can break.
Yeah, I'm just a purist. I like dirt. I like shaped jumps. I like tracks that build character, that don't stay the same. Hard or soft surface, it doesn't matter. I like tricky area sections of a track that you kind of have to figure out. I think some of these, another debate that we could have is I think some of these layouts are a little bit too on the easy side. So we just need to think about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I was a big fan back in the day where you had jumps that your stock cars would have to do a certain way and your mod cars did it in a different way.
Yeah.
Totally. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that today everybody wants to do the same thing in stock and mod, and there's just a lot of things that we can consider. But yeah, it should be fun.
All grip and rip. Hell yeah. All right. Thanks again, buddy. I didn't mean to keep you on so long, but
just fun.
When you're passionate about something, you can talk about it all night. So we'll have more conversations for sure. Thanks for what you're doing with 3ZD. I think it's badass.
D3D.
3DZ.
Z 3D.
Z3D.
There we go.
Z3D.
There we go.
Okay. Z3D.
That's what I'm going to engrave on your finger prototype.
Okay. That would be nice, right?
Yeah. I'll consider
All right, Jose. Have a good night, buddy.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Thank you for the invite. Fun chat.
Jesus, Jose, Zayas.
You have called me that. That's true. All right, buddy. Be safe.
I'm old, man. Peace out, buddy. Have a good night. Enjoy the video.